Hello, my friends. So we have had some technical difficulties and the previously recorded video is obsolete. So we're gonna shake up the camera here. We're gonna wing this. We're gonna come back in this conversation about communication as the bridge between two or more good souls. I'm gonna see if I can keep this under 10 minutes. Let's do it. Let's keep it concise. Let's keep it wonderful. Wasting time here, having fun. No time wasted, no such thing. So we, as souls having human experiences, or just humans, or however you want to look at it, we have very complex experiences of the world that include sensations, the five senses, thoughts, emotions. We have belief systems, and perceptual biases. We all experience the world in completely unique, individualized ways. The systems are all the same. So all those things I just listed, thoughts, emotions, we all have those same patterns of cognition and recognition of the world around us, but each of us does it differently. And if you take a moment to just get in touch with the reality that everybody is experiencing life at the same damn time. So right now, just check in with your environment. So if you're at home, maybe imagine your family members, your partner. If you're at work, imagine your coworkers. Just recognize that everybody right now is having a perceptual experience of the world around them and within them in this very moment. That's completely unique to them. They're thinking, they're having emotions, they're maybe feeling their fingers typing. Everybody's experiencing life at the same time. And everybody's experience is as valid as it is unique, not necessarily rational. So we're going to separate that from this conversation. And certainly we're conditioned in ways that are illogical and self-destructive, but everybody's experience of the world is uniquely theirs and very real. And so we can't experience yet, technology is evolving pretty quickly, we cannot experience life through the eyes of another. We talk about putting yourself in another's shoes. One of the best things we can do is empathize, is try to imagine and connect emotionally to the energy of another person's experience. And that's a really beautiful thing and sort of a subsect of this conversation about communication as a bridge. But we truly cannot experience another person's experience 100%. And yet we can feel like islands in this giant ocean if we are left experiencing our world without sharing it or without connecting it to another, without connecting to our greater interconnectedness. So communication is absolutely essential to be able to connect on the level of our common humanity, in intimate relationships and friendships. If we don't share ourselves, if we don't share what's happening in our world, and if we can't do so openly and safely and freely, we'll continue to feel like we're that island floating separately from the rest, when in reality we're really an archipelago. We're much more, I'm loving this geography analogy. We're really an archipelago. We're much more closely related than we think. We're not as alone and isolated as we can feel if we are feeling alone in our experience. If our experience is something that we feel we have to grapple with, and when I say experience, I mean the good and the bad. Life is fucking wonderful, but it's also tremendously painful at times, and it's the necessity to share ourselves that can bring us a sense of community and connection and interconnectedness, and recognize that we're not in this alone. So we all have our unique experiences, and if we don't share them, if we isolate ourselves, we will feel alone, we'll feel disconnected, and that's painful in of itself, if not the most painful thing, or the underlying cause of pain in general, is feeling isolated and alone. So communication is absolutely essential, because it allows us to bridge our very unique perceptions of the world, and to understand via curiosity. So communication, you ask a question, and you say, hey, what's going on for you right now? How are you doing? What are you thinking? And we share what's happening within ourselves, what's happening in our world, and we let another into our experience of the world around us and within us. And so though we can never fully 100% understand what's happening in another person's experience, we can't live through until we're like, hooked up to each other's brains and we can, have that kind of technology. We can only get part of the way there. But that part of the way there is so freaking important because that is connection, that is intimacy. It's understanding what another person is experiencing and how they experience the world around us that allows us to feel that sense of archipelago-ness that we truly are. And it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful feeling to be able to share yourself, to be able to let another person share themselves, to be able to hold that space for each other to be able to be seen. And I learned something really beautiful in the context of my partnership recently, and that is come to me in the context of conflict, where typically, if you ever fought with a partner or a friend, you go into fact finding. You're like, no, it's this, this is the objective truth. This is what happened, and you're wrong because of this. The reality is that we all have equally valid subjective experiences. So when you're fighting with a partner, they're going to see things through their own lens, and you're going to see things through your own lens. And unless we can come to a place of trying to understand with compassion and curiosity what's happening for the other person, we're basically gaslighting them. We're saying, no, this is the reality. When in reality, everybody has their own reality. And so there's a common problem in our culture right now where we cannot agree to disagree. We all have different beliefs. We all have these different experiences. And instead of letting each other in and also like maintaining our autonomy of like, I have this experience, we're trying to force our view of the world on each other rather than allowing all of us to exist autonomously as islands that are connected to one another. So the invitation here is let each other in and share each other. And that happens via communication. And there are, I use communication in a broad sense, but for me, I'm very language based. So I can describe, the cognitive thought patterns that are happening, the feelings that I'm having. I'm feeling it in this part of my body. I believe this, I'm worried about that. I can express things through language. Other people express things in different ways, through art or through touch, through making love. There are a lot of different ways that we can communicate to let each other in. But if we don't, we're going to isolate each other. We have to want to understand the experience that another is experiencing in order to feel connected, in order to feel close, in order to work this out together. And they say, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. And, ultimately all of my conversations about how do we go together in a strong, resilient, beautiful way to take on the challenges of our planet right now and our lives right now, and to thrive together in community and as human beings. And we've got to communicate. So taking stock right now, how and this is all about vulnerability too, because it can feel uncomfortable to share ourselves. Taking stock right now, are you willing to share yourself? Who are you willing to share yourself with? It does require feeling safe to brave that vulnerability of I don't want to share this, I could get criticized or judged. You do have to feel safe with people, but that's a two-way street. That safety is curated within as well. Being able to brave and be open enough to share. So who do you feel safe with to share yourself with? Are you willing to share yourself? Are you willing to listen to another's experience openly and honestly? Are you curious? Do you listen to what their experience is without judgment, or at least not acting on judgment, and letting them share themselves? How willing are you to let another into your world, and how willing are you to let another share their world with you? These are really, really good indicators of your, the state of your ability to connect with another. And we're going to go over 10 minutes here. I'm looking at the clock. I'm like, shit. but much more concise than the past few. So that's good. And from there, taking stock, and you can, those can be journal prompts if you want to, or just checking in with yourself verbally out loud, or if you want to, reflect with a friend or a partner, and, how willing am I to share myself? How willing am I to be curious of another? And from there, pushing your communication skills. If you feel like, oh, damn, I'm a bit closed down, finding a safe space, finding a safe partner in crime. It doesn't have to be a romantic partner, but it can be a friend that you've had for years, or even a fucking pet, like sit there and tell your dog how your day was, what you're feeling. Really share yourself and let your dog share themselves with you. And notice the sense of intimacy, the sense of connection, the sense of relief and release and love. In order to connect as souls having human experiences here on this planet, in order to really move forward together, we have to communicate. We have to let each other in. We have to share ourselves. So I hope this inspires you to, there's a whole conversation about vulnerability that can be had too. We'll have some time down the line. It does require courage, because we're, in a culture that tends to, repress things and shut down and wanna hide ourselves. We have to stop doing that. We gotta share. We gotta share, because I'm beautiful, you're beautiful, we're all fucking beautiful, and life is, moving forward in the best way when we're open to sharing that with the world around us. So go out there, share yourself. You're fucking amazing. I love you, and whatever belief or worry that concerns you that's getting in the way of you sharing yourself, know that it's fucking bullshit. It comes from very real wounds, I'm sure, and conditioning, but you are worth being shared, and you are worth sharing, and we would love for you to share yourself with us. Okay, lots of love. Mwah.